Check, check, 1, 2, radio check. Over Bill. Run the bomb through the corner, lane up through the tile zone. Check up, Not sure why we did that, I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. Split up right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs to Speedway. It's Kurt Sponsler. Sponsler will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland is leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.
Engines roar louder than a lion about to feast. Racers in the zone, gripping wheels like a beast. Outcast League, tearing up the blacktop terrain. Rubber burning speed, churning gasoline in their veins. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Peacemaker's lens captures it clean. Broadcast a dream on a digital screen. NASCAR hearts with that outlaw creed. Outcast racing warriors of speed. Start your engines, thunder shakes the pit. Chrome shining bright, every car's legit. Draft moves tighter than a surgeon's hand. Chasing glory down roads cut loose from the land. From dusk to dawn, they circle the fight. Tires scream rebellion under stadium lights. Lap by lap, adrenaline sparks the night. Outcast League ends never out of sight. Racetrack gladiators, helmets on tight. Every second matters, every turn ignites. Born for the fuel, engines never betray. At the finish line, see who outruns the freight.
Woo! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here from the beautiful Michigan International Speedway. As the Outcast Racing League drivers are ready to get back after, they are ready to go to work here this evening for what will be another amazing night of racing action. As the number 9 ride, the must-love Poodles machine of Tyler Humphrey will lead us to the green flag. It'll be his teammate there, Chris Muse, to his outside in position number 2. Tyler's twin brother, Grant Humphrey, will start in position number 3 in his must-love Poodles. Isabel's Impact number 48 ride to his outside will be the 25 of Edward Belair. Then we do see Anthony Garland, the number 00 Colton managed there in 6. The 22 ride, that's Nicholas Barton. The 11 is that is Mark Belair. Then we see Joshua Benton, Corey Crowell, Michael Wolf, Josh Bromfield, Wayne Garland, Mike Killingbeck, James Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger, and Gary Wright bringing up the rear of the field as we end all of the anticipation with our feature presentation, as we are quickly green flag racing here from Michigan International Speedway. The 9 of Tyler Humphrey will lead us down into corner number 1 and out of 2 here. He'll be able to clear his Must Love Poodles teammates and lead us down the back straightaway as these drivers build up that speed, all that momentum, and now comes into play the draft, the drive, and everything else that these drivers are gonna need to try to put themselves into victory lane. A very momentum-based racetrack. You need to carry that throttle. You need to find big runs to make some moves out there on the speedway, and drafting will definitely play a bit of a factor here in this race. Not a traditional kind of a draft like you would see at Talladega or Daytona, but when you can get tucked in behind somebody, you get a run or they get a run, it can either pull you along with them or it can help you push them quicker down the straightaways, and that could really set you up for big momentum speed here at Michigan, and could definitely put you and the driver in front of you or the driver behind you into a better position, and we should be able to see a lot of these drivers be able to kind of reel in the cats out in front. It is very difficult to break away from the field here. You need to find a really big run, or you need to have that, second, third, fourth place driver really be battling back there for a race leader to jump out front and to pull away from competitors. As you can see already, that 3 of Chris Muse getting consumed out there on the speedway. Edward Belair makes quick work of him, jumps up and into that second spot. Muse trying to stay in third, but he's got Anthony Garland, he's got Colton Manich down to his inside as they're 2 wide, 3 wide battle in here at Michigan International Speedway. The 11 machine right there, as you do see Nicholas Barton make that pass on Colton Manich for position number 5. Manich, unfortunately, not with that momentum. The bottom lane is the shortest way around the racetrack, but it's not necessarily the fastest way around the racetrack. As you can see, the drivers that have to jump down to the bottom groove here, especially early on, you're almost looking for almost what would be considered a slide job move. You're trying to drive it in deep, down low, looking for a big run, and as you kind of start to hit the center of the corner, instead of hugging that yellow line, you kind of drift up, and you try to drift up in front of that car to your outside. You try to get in front of them to where they have nowhere else to go. They either got to go back down to your inside to give you the maybe preferred lane into the next corner, or potentially stay right behind you and push you down the straightaway, which would help you pick up all that speed and momentum you had lost running that bottom lane. So for a lot of these drivers trying to work their way forward, trying to find their way to the front, obviously it's all about that momentum. It's all about putting yourself in the right position at the right time and taking those runs when you need them to put yourself into a winning position. As you see Tyler Humphrey still leading the charge here. Muse has battled back into second, and it looks like Muse is going to stick right there with his Must Love Poodles teammate. Stays on his back bumper, but now you see that run from the Poor Boy Motorsports number 81 of Anthony Garland. Anthony gets a great run down the straightaway, jumps up to the top shelf here through corner 1 and 2, as the 9 of Humphrey kind of goes through a little bit more of a lower groove right there. He's been kind of running a little bit lower than a lot of these other drivers. You can see a lot of these guys way up there towards the top shelf. Now he's not as low as what he could be, but obviously still kind of low on the racetrack, and that is killing all of his momentum coming out of these corners. Luckily enough, he has a teammate there of Chris Muse to kind of give him a shot or two here and there to try to help push him along, to help push him forward out there on the speedway. And these guys are just doing a fantastic job, some great racing, corner by corner by corner out there on the speedway. As Rob Lowell, Rob coming in, hitting that subscribe button. What's good, Rob? Rob coming in, showing the love here in this one. How are you, brothers? We did see some contact back there. Looked like the 69 ride, maybe making a little contact there, and unfortunately kind of sliding back. Let's take a look back, see what happened as the mellow yellow 69 of Bromfield. I'm not sure who he gets tied together with. It is the 11 ride of Mark Belair. So right there at a corner number 2, I'm not sure if maybe the 69 getting a little tight to the outside fence. Bel Air maybe moving up the racetrack here, and they just kind of run out of room. So here comes, yeah, so the 69 kind of bounces off that fence down the track into the 11 of Mark Bel Air. Unfortunately, that ended up hurting Mark more than it hurt the 69 ride, as Mark falls back quite a few positions, then pushes up the track, gets tight there down into corner number 1, gets a piece of that 70 ride of Killingbeck. Luckily enough, able to get it rolling there. Doesn't look like too much damage dealt to that race car, and will able to stay in the battle. But out on the racetrack, man, the fights here are going to continue on all night long, and the strategy will be the main thing for a lot of these drivers. The strategy calls are going to be dire for each and every one of them to try to put themselves up and into the winning position here this evening, as you do see the 81 getting a little bit wild there at a corner number 2. Luckily enough, he's able to hang on to it, keep it pointing the right direction. But for each and every one of these drivers coming here to Michigan, this is our elimination race for the round of 16. So we drop from 16 drivers in our playoffs down to only 12 drivers here. Now, I never see a points update. I see points penalties. I don't see any, maybe points after drop, going to cut off week. When was this posted? It's 5:04. Okay, so that was last month, so that's not even accurate here. Let's see if we can find standings here. Nashville. Okay, here we go. So this will give us a little bit better of an idea. So we do see that, unfortunately for Dom Slavo, he is pretty much out of it right now. He is way below that cut line. Brandon Puffenbarger came in right at that cut line, so we'll have to keep an eye on Puffenbarger, Josh Bromfield, Michael Wolf, even Anthony Garland, potentially all at risk of falling outside of our top 12 and unfortunately not making it to the next round of these playoffs. Mark Bel Air, Joshua Benton, who we just saw both drivers get tied together there and almost brought out our first caution flag of the day. They are in 13th and 14th here in the points. They need to have a good run. They need to have a really good day points-wise to try to put themselves into the next round of these playoffs. Unfortunately for Rob Tuwiscu, Dom Slavo, I believe neither driver are here this evening. I believe both of them will be eliminated from our playoffs here today. So a tough break there for those cats, but nonetheless, we keep on battling. We keep on duking it out here this evening, and for every one of these drivers, they'll keep on trying to keep on here, hoping that they can find those grooves, find those lanes, and try to work their way a little farther forward out there on the Speedway, as we'll keep an eye on Mark Bel Air, Joshua Benton, see where they kind of roll out there on the racetrack. Puffenbarger, Rob Field, Michael Wolf, all kind of right there just above that cut line. Anthony Garland's not too far up there. Even Killingbeck and Corey Growell very, very close to that cut line as well. Not super far away, but and I don't think they should probably be good. I believe it is, 40 points between Crowell, Killingbeck, all the way back to our 13th place driver in Mark Bel Air. So, I mean, there is a decent gap there. That's not in, a lot of points that could potentially fade away. There could definitely be a lot more points that could be made here throughout our stage breaks and everything else that could bring it into question here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see who can try to work their way up there, see who can try to put themselves maybe into a transfer spot into the next round of our playoffs. Should be a lot of fun to see how this all gets played out here this evening. But for right now, it's all Mr. Humphrey. Tyler Humphrey continues to lead the charge. Tyler out in front, has this top spot, and is looking A-okay here at the front of the field. Chris Muse back there in position number 2, just hanging right there with his beautiful Must Love Poodles teammate out there on the racetrack. And then we do see Anthony Garland still hanging in second. This is the run that he desperately needed to try to advance his way into the next round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, I don't know if Nicholas Barton was a part of the playoffs. I don't know if they took top 20 maybe, and 8 drivers get eliminated from the playoffs here after these 2 races. Nonetheless, Barton comes in quite a ways below that cut line. Would need a massive win or something here today to potentially move his way forward here, as we do see James Garland in the Vanguard Sim Racing number 37 ride hit pit road here this evening. So James Garland down pit side. We just saw Wayne Garland also down pit road back on lap number 17. And Wayne's trying to keep himself, or lap number 13, and he's trying to keep himself here on the lead lap as the 84 ride in his Vanguard Sim Racing RT3 Designs number 84 ride right in front of our race leaders. He is right there. They are right on his back bumper, and, you know, they could definitely make the move, get around him here potentially, and put this 84 ride a lap down early on here this evening. But it's bringing into that question mark, how far can each and every one of these drivers go? Our first stage of the day, I believe, is a 30-lap run. So I think for a lot of these drivers, fuel could definitely become a bit of a factor throughout this stage. So we'll have to wait and see, you know, if we see potentially our race leaders have to start coming down pit road, or if this was just a bit of a missed strategy call out of the Vanguard Racing Rise. But we do see Brandon Puffenbarger makes his way down pit road, and things have gone off the rails for the HendrickCars.com number 5 machine. Puffenbarger not only missed his pit stall right there, we saw him slide through there, go too far, but he also got caught speeding down pit road. Black flag for the number 5 ride of Brandon Puffenbarger, and for the HendrickCars.com machine. Unfortunately, that will be a hole down pit road. He'll have to stay down there for a little while longer and try to keep himself in contention here this evening. As Rob Lowell says, the 9 car went to school Thursday night in the Elite Series, where he finished 4th, and he's running the line that dominated that race in a field of cars that had several 4K 1000 drivers. Let's go. Hey, that's the line. That is the line. I mean, Tyler Humphrey, I mean, he is one of our points leaders. He's definitely one of those guys that comes in, does his homework, puts together some great races and great performances, and trying to put himself obviously right back into victory lane here this evening. Came in right behind his twin brother Grant Humphrey here for the points lead going into obviously this elimination race. He was about 30 points behind Grant Humphrey, but I feel like for both of those two, they should be fine. I feel like they're pretty much locked in on points. Even Colton Manich should be good. Devin Black, Jamison Heath, who's not here this evening, he might be good. Heath, that's another one that could be really, really questionable here on whether or not he'll be able to transfer through into the next round of these playoffs. Not here this evening for Muse, Crowell, Killingback, Anthony Garland. I mean, definitely some opportunities to keep on moving forward, but for Tyler Humphrey, he's been out in front. He's led the first 19 laps of this race, and he's looking to continue to keep on leading more, as we do see Edward Belair. He's made his pit stop. He rolls back out onto the speedway and ready to rock and roll here, trying to keep himself maybe in that free pass position in case if there is a caution flag here that's kind of off sequence to what their pit strategy is. Colton Manich was down pit side back on lap 17, so he's now scored back in the 13th position. Now we do see Michael Wolf hit pit road here in that Smoky Ridge Racing number 10 ride. As Tyler Humphrey, though, out in front, continues to hold on to top spot here. He's got his teammate Chris Muse right there with him. Looks like Muse maybe even making the move to the outside here. Looks like Muse wants to jump up, lead a lap or two. Maybe the 9 ride wants to try to maybe save a little bit more fuel, maybe fall in behind, kind of get a little bit more draft, or maybe preparing to hit pit road right now, kind of dragging everyone else along with him, but does not look like it. He is going to stay out, so Chris Muse able to jump up and steal that top spot. Muse jumps out in front of the field as my boy Big Pilo. What's good, Pilo? Coming in showing the love with the let's go babies in the chat. Says, let's go Colton Manich. Cheering on Manich here this evening. Says, woohoo! Woo! Let's go, baby. Let's get it, my boy. As Must Love Poodles in the chat as well. It says, hey, MLP crew. Let's go, guys. Let's go, Must Love Poodles. Let's go. Let's get after it here. Obviously, for right now, the Must Love team doing a great job. Chris Muse sitting at the front of the field. Then we do see Tyler Humphrey, who led majority of this race so far, at least the first 20 laps of this race. He was out in front. Grant Humphrey looks like they're going to stretch the field out a little bit farther as Grant now sits back in third. Killing back, Crowell going to stay out here. Mark Belair, Gary Wright both hit pit road. Last time by, we did see the Poor Boy Motorsports 81 of Anthony Garland hit pit road. Colton Manich just a little bit back behind him. Edward Belair, Michael Wolf right there as well. Wayne Garland back there. So it's going to be interesting to see once things kind of cycle on through where everyone's going to kind of be and who's going to be able to put themselves into a good position. As we do see Mark Belair getting ready to leave pit road. Gary Wright right there behind him is now, here we go, Must Love Poodles team hit pit lane as here comes Muse, Tyler Humphrey, Grant Humphrey, they all hit pit road. It looks like Killingbeck and the number 2, Corey Crowell, all going to stay out here. So Crowell stays out a little while longer as well. There's a 2-car. Obviously, I mean, he's stretched out the field quite a bit before. He's put himself into these positions where he can kind of save, and put himself into a really, really good position here, you know, later in these runs or later in these races. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to save, you know, potentially an extra 6-7 laps here. And I don't think he's going to, as he's coming down pit road this time. So the Ohio Cat number 2 machine, the Caterpillars of Ohio, number 2 ride, going to hit pit road here, and obviously Killingbeck right there with them. So Killingbeck also hits pit lane, only getting 24 laps in right there. And as things kind of cycle back around, it is still the 9 rider Tyler Humphrey out in front. Humphrey still has the race lead. Anthony Garland there in what will now be the 2nd position. Chris Muse back in position number what will be 3rd. We'll see where Crowell and Killingbeck kind of slide out here. They're down the racetrack, just getting out of the pit, so they are going to fall quite a bit farther back for both Killingbeck and for Corey Crowell. As you see Colton Manich around them, he's up into 4th. Grant Humphreys there in 5th. Edward Belair's in 6th. Then we do see Michael Wolf in 7th. Mark Belair up into position number 8 with Gary Wright and Josh Bromfield, rounding out our top 10 here in our first stage of the day, as we only get 5 laps left to go here in stage number 1. And for a couple of those drivers that were a little bit farther back there that desperately needed these points and unfortunately not really getting them, man, this could open up the door here for drivers like Mark Belair or Joshua Benton. Mark is in line to get some stage points, so isn't actually, I don't think Benton's here. No, Benton's here. Unfortunately, Benton outside of the top 10. No stage points on the line for him there. Puffenbarger, he's back there. Unfortunately, kind of stuck behind the 8 ball right now, I believe, as the first driver still 1 lap down after his pit road errors there. His pit road mistakes have kind of set him back, but should get the lucky dog as long as no one else loses a lap here in stage number 1. But for Puffenbarger there in 17th, James Garland is a little slower out there on the racetrack. He was just down on the apron, but he's got that thing rolling again. As of right now, I believe he is about 32, almost 33 seconds behind our race leaders with about 3 laps left to go, 3.5 laps left here. I mean, Tyler Humphrey's not too far away from potentially putting that 37 ride a lap down. James Garland just across the start-finish line. Humphrey is right there, steamrolling down the front straightaway, so Humphrey could be there. He could make some moves, and if he stretches out far enough, I mean, that could put obviously the 37 a lap down, put him into a really, really tough position, but it would also put Brandon Puffenbarger 1 lap down and no longer in that free pass spot, and that would definitely hurt this 5 ride of Puffenbarger here late in this race and throughout this race. Being kind of trapped a lap down would need a quick caution flag to get himself back into the battle. So I think for Tyler Humphrey, that's kind of one he wants to see. He wants to see that 5 car. He was usually really, really good. He was a tough competitor. Kind of get stuck back there. Maybe kind of trap him a lap down out on the Speedway, and especially for being 12th in points coming into this race. Only about 18 points above that cut line to Mark Belair, with Mark getting stage points, with the 5 ride not getting any stage points. I mean, that really helps out Mark Belair a ton as well. So we'll have to wait and see if they can hunt down that number 37 ride at James Garland. I mean, James has done good enough here that he's been able to hold him off. He's been able to keep him from reeling into him any closer. You can still see about half that straightaway between himself and our race leaders just off there in the distance. But one more slip up, one more big mistake, and they could be right there on his back bumper in a quick hurry. And I believe this is our final lap of the stage. So I think this is going to be a huge bullet missed here for Brandon Puffenbarger if the 37 stays on the lead lap, and if that allows him to get back onto the lead lap here with the lucky dog himself this evening, as Tyler Humphrey nice and easy down into corner number 3 and out of corner number 4, looking for a big enough run to keep the 81 right at Anthony Garland back there at bay. Chris Muse right there with him, but down across the line here at Michigan International Speedway, it's Tyler Humphrey who will pick up our first stage win of the day. So our first stage win goes to that 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey. Anthony Garland there in second, Chris Muse in third for the stage here this evening. Colton Manich, Grant Humphrey, our top 5 there in stage number 1. Edward Belair, Michael Wolf, Mark Belair, Josh Bromfield, and Gary Wright round out our top 10, all earning some stage points here this evening. Unfortunately, Corey Crowell, Mike Killingbeck, Joshua Benton, Nicholas Barton, Wayne Garland, James Garland, and Brandon Puffenbarger all outside of our top 10. Unfortunately, will not earn any stage points here this evening, but for Gary Wright up there, Mark Belair, great runs for those guys. Edward Belair right up there as well, putting together a great show. Great to see Anthony finding some great speed, having this 81 ride up at the front of the pack here, battling hard and competing here for what could be a big win here this evening, as these drivers will get ready to maybe come back down pit road. I feel the way fuel's been playing here, we're going to see everyone right back down pit side. They're all going to be making this pit stop, trying to get their cars an extra bit of fuel. Maybe no tires, maybe tires here, trying to set themselves up for a good second stage on the day, and trying to set themselves up here for maybe another good points run here in stage number 2. Try to give themselves either that cushion or try to draw a little closer maybe to that cut line and try to work their way into that round of 12 next Sunday. So I think for a lot of these drivers, that's what the main goal should be. It should be that big picture racing, trying to score as many points as possible to work yourself into that next round of the playoffs. So there's definitely going to be a few drivers that are going to be going for that win, trying to put themselves up and into victory lane. And obviously for Tyler Humphrey here in stage number 1, man, he has looked really, really strong. Looks like he may be one of those cars to beat here this evening. I mean, Anthony Garland, that 3 right of Chris Muse, they've been kind of the class of the field here right from the drop of the green flag, and it may stay that way until that checker flag. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out as these drivers do hit pit road. They're going to get their changes, work on their race cars, and honestly try to get themselves set up here for the final run of the day. Looks like Tyler Humphreys is going to go for fuel only. Like some getting a little bit more fuel than others. A lot of drivers, though, down there patiently getting topped up on fuel and rolling back out onto the racetrack. Now for Tyler Humphrey, he does stay in the race lead. So for Tyler Humphrey, he's out in front, still has the top spot. He'll get ready for a big restart here this evening. Now we did see Brandon Puffenbarger get the wave around the lucky dog back on the lead lap. So all 17 drivers here this evening, still very much in the battle here today, as we're going to get a quick break in, but we're going to get a word from our amazing sponsors over at Must Love Poodles.
Who are we? We are Must Love Poodles, where poodles aren't just dogs, they're family. We are a very small in-home breeder of AKC miniature and small standard poodles. where our motto is quality over quantity. Where every litter is thoughtfully and intentionally bred. And we know that the best puppies come from great parents. And that's why we test every single parent dog for all genetic and orthopedic related issues. But we don't stop there. We also take our dogs to AKC events and make sure they get titles to prove that they have great temperaments. Every puppy is hand-raised in our home and well socialized. We also utilize puppy curriculum and early training methods, which make our puppies a snap to train. They're very eager and human-focused. Every puppy is also temperament tested, which helps us match the puppy to the right home. At Must Love Poodles, we can't promise you the perfect puppy, but we do promise that we will do our very best to prepare your puppy for its future. If you're looking to add a smart, sociable, and highly trainable dog, and you want a breeder that will be there for you before, during, and after, come on over to www.mustlovepoodles.com or follow us on our Facebook page. We'll see you there.
Alrighty, shout out there to Must Love Poodles as we get these drivers ready to rumble, ready to get back after it here this evening for another 30-lap run here in stage number 2 here this evening. Our second stage of the day is about to get underway, and starting on the poles, it looked like Tyler Humphrey and ended up making an additional trip down pit side here. Looked like Grant Humphrey also back down pit road. Tyler Humphrey, Chris Muse, Gary Wright, Brandon Puffenbarger, James Garland, all making additional pit stops back for lap 33, as everyone else was down pit side on lap 32. So you're going to wonder, are they thinking about trying to stretch that fuel out, trying to get to the end of the stages? Here we go. Big launch, big restart right there for the 0-0. Got the 69 ride sleeping there on the restart. Unfortunately for Joshua Benton, that will hold up himself in that inside lane. That will send them a little farther back, as you see, obviously for Colton Manich, Anthony Garland, Michael Wolf, they were able to jump all over it and work their way up and into first, second, third, and smoothly out there on the Speedway off that restart. Benton does fall back in line, builds up that speed. Here in position number 4, Corey Crowell. They're in that 5th spot on the Speedway. Josh Bromfield back in 6th. Then we do see Nicholas Barton, Mark Belair, Wayne Garland's there in 9th, and Mike Killingback back in that 10th position here on the Speedway. Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey there in 11th and 12th with James Garland right there. Battle to the inside of the 9 right of Tyler Humphrey. Tyler looking to try to stay to his outside, but just couldn't quite get there. And for the 37 of James Garland, able to slide up in front of him, take that lane kind of away from him. So we'll see what the cue is for the Vanguard Racing number 37 ride, as he's looking to try to battle here on the back bumper. But look out, oh, there's contact. Around goes the 37. Caution flag is back out. Caution flag on the Speedway. 37 ride of James Garland goes around. Caution flag will come out, as Anne-Marie in the chat as well says, hearts in the chat in number 37. Cheered on that 37 ride. Unfortunately for James, just went around right there. Maybe a little help, a little contact from the 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey. Tyler obviously so far has been kind of the class of the field, kind of set back here maybe by a little pit road mistake, and unfortunately that, going back down deeper in the field, he's ran into some drivers that are a little bit slower than what he's been out there on the Speedway. And obviously for the 37 of James Garland, coming off the corner down low, not as quickly back onto the throttle. 9 right able to take a good run, and as he does get there, unfortunately it just kind of hooks the 37 ride around right here. Let's take another look at it. So gets in there a little bit deep. Ends up kind of getting into the back end of the 48 ride right there. Luckily enough, Grant was able to hang on to it. But then right here on corner exit, I feel like Tyler was hopefully trying to get that 37 ride moving, trying to get them bump drafting down the front straightaway. Unfortunately, when he gets to the 37, he was still Just kind of a little bit out of balance right there. That contact has helped him go around, and he goes for a couple loop-de-loops, and unfortunately, the caution flag does fly, and that will put us for another restart, another yellow, another restart for all these drivers to have to enjoy here this evening, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to get rolling here once again. It's Colton Manich out in front. We'll have to wait and see if there's any game time decisions here. I feel like a lot of these drivers will be coming back down pit road, but there could be a couple takers that they feel they're good on fuel, especially with these caution laps, that they'll stay out, keep that track position, and try to keep themselves in the battle. Looks like Anthony Garland, he's going to stay out. Wolf does. A lot of these drivers actually staying out. We only see Colton Manich, Mike Killingback, Gary Wright, Edward Belair, Brandon Puffenbarger, James Garland, all hitting pit road here, all getting some work done to their race cars, and obviously getting some fuel into their cars as well. So I feel like that's the big thing, trying to get these things topped up, making sure that you know you're kind of good on fuel, know that you're good at being able to keep on rocking and rolling out there. As Ham Marie says, he has had the worst weekend. Oh no, oh no. Oh, we never love to hear that for poor old James, man. That is that's tough, man. An already rough weekend. You jump in here looking to have some fun, looking to enjoy some great racing, and unfortunate contact there. And yeah, go around, bringing out the first caution flag for incident out there on the Speedway. It's never a fun time to be out there. So that sucks for James. Hopefully, whatever it is that he's going through, it gets a whole lot better. Hopefully, it kind of surpasses and it's a whole lot better from here on out. And hopefully the weekend gets better for him. I mean, still some time, still lots of laps left here in this race, and obviously tonight, so hopefully things get turned around there for Mr. James Garland and get himself right back, you know, into tip-top shape for Monday morning. And for right now, I mean, he does have his, I believe, father, something like that. I think brother there in front of him of Anthony Garland, as Anthony rolls in position number 1. Michael Wolf, Joshua Benton, Josh Bromfield, and Corey Crowell running out our top 5. Nicholas Barton, Mark Belair, Wayne Garland, and then we do see Grant Humphrey and Chris Muse running out the top 10 here for this restart. Now, we did see, obviously, for some drivers, you look back at Colton Manich, you look at James Garland and Brandon Puffenbarger, they were back down pit road there. For Tyler Humphrey, looks like he's fallen to the rear of the field, so looks like maybe he's taken blame of that contact, gotten an EOL, and will start at the rear of the field here. Unfortunately for Mark Belair and Gary Wright, while Gary's rolling back out, here comes Edward Belair. Mike Killingback also back down pit road before this restart, all getting topped up on fuel, so they're going to have the most fuel out of anybody. They could be sitting pretty here if we go clean and green to the end of stage number 2, as it will be now a 20-lap shootout for all these drivers, as, well, I guess 21 laps now, as they have already completed. No, they've completed 39, so they're going to finish lap number 40 when we go back to green flag racing. So it will be virtually a 20-lap shootout here for stage number 2, biting some more caution flags here throughout the second stage of the day. As we get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble, it's a pair of Poor Boy Motorsports rides sitting in that outside row. I'm sure they're going to be working together here, trying to get a bit of a countdown, hoping to get a big launch over that 10 ride on Michael Wolf, and knowing that the 69 ride on Joshua Benton got a little bit of a worse restart there as well. During that last restart, maybe this could set himself up nicely as well. As here we go, quickly back to green flag racing, and even before the start-finish line, that 69 ride on Joshua Benton able to find a hole, jumps up the racetrack, jumps in front of the 22 ride of Nicholas Barton, and we'll jump right back to the outside top shelf and looking to try to carry the speed and momentum out of the mellow yellow and number 69 ride, and hoping to go to work here on the back bumper of that 12 ride of Josh Bromfield. Luckily enough for Michael Wolf down low, he was able to find a hole there as well between our top 2 competitors out there on the racetrack. And for Anthony Garland, he's hoping to just try to keep them all back there at bay here for the next 19 laps of racing action, hoping that he can work his way up and into our second stage win of the evening. But for a lot of these guys, man, some great racing, some great battling out there on the Speedway. A lot of 2 wide, 3 wide here at Michigan International Speedway. There's a lot of lanes, a lot of opportunities to work yourself forward or unfortunately fall backwards. Out there on the racetrack is right here. We do see 3 of those muscle-up poodles rides kind of stacked up on top of one another, as that is the number 2 of Corey Crowell in there, but you do see Grant Humphrey, 3 right of Chris Muse is right there. I believe a little farther back you do see Tyler Humphrey there in that 9th position, trying to work his way through some of that traffic as well on the racetrack. But for right now, it looks like a big move out of the 10 ride. It is, as Michael Wolf jumps out in front, seals the race lead away from Anthony Garland. Now Anthony just trying to hang on to that number 81 ride, as now Josh Bromfield, his teammate, working to his inside. That 69 of Joshua Benton there to his back bumper. You throw in Wayne Garland, Nicholas Barton, Corey Crowell, all ready to jump in there, jump into the battle, and try to put themselves into a good position here towards the end of our second stage of the day. Some great racing, some great battling here this evening, man. These guys putting together a wicked show for us, but oh, look out, contact. Oh, brother, there it goes. 69 rides around, caution flag is back out. Yellow flag is the mellow yellow ride. Goes for a ride down here, as it looks like contact between him and Wayne Garland. Take a look at it. So Wayne, from a little bit back behind them down into corner number 3, takes a big run, drives it deep down low in through corner number 3 and 4. They're door to door coming out of quarter number 4. 69 rides trying to get down a little bit more. The 84 is already down there, and then as they kind of head through the tri-oval, contacts made here. Let's take a look at it, see if the 69 was trying to make that corner right there, or if maybe the 84 ride kind of came up a little bit. We'll take a look here, see what happened, see how this one kind of played out. So both drivers, we got a good look at it right here. Tough, man. That's just tough racing. It's hard to say. If you keep an eye on the black lines, you can kind of see, obviously, the right front of the 69 ride. He's on that black line. Yeah, it kind of looks like maybe the 84 does come up a little bit into that left rear of the 69 machine, trying to side draft them a little bit right there. I don't know if there was initially going to be contact or maybe a little neck code right there, kind of pulled that 69 right around. Unfortunately, no matter what, it still ends up being worst case for that number 69 ride, as he spins out to the apron, back up the racetrack into corner number 1, up into the outside fence. Now, luckily enough, majority of these other drivers were able to avoid him. No one else got tore up and took it out there on the Speedway, but that is definitely going to set the 69 of Joshua Benton up a little tougher here later in this race, is obviously if he's going to use up that quick repair, he'll no longer have it in his back pocket, or even just potentially burning through a set of tires there, sliding down the front straightaway and into corner number 1. Could definitely flat spot those tires, could definitely make them that much tougher to work with out there on the Speedway. So that's going to set him back a little bit more here in this second stage of the day. But we do see Chris Muse hitting pit road. So Muse back down pit side. Looked like Grant Humphrey also down pit road here in the number 48. Tyler Humphrey's down pit side. Here comes, I believe, Edward Belair, Joshua Benton, James Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger, obviously for the 16 machine of Gary Wright, also down pit road, all trying to get some repairs, trying to get their cars fixed up and back out onto the racetrack here for another big restart, as more laps going to be clicked off the board, and that means we'll be even closer to the end of our second stage of the day here. It's going to become a shootout in a quick hurry, as we get a quick word in from our sponsors over at RT3 Designs.
Tonight's racing action is brought to you by RT3 Design LLC. When it comes to designing your dream home, precision matters, just like it does on the racetrack. At RT3 Design, we specialize in custom residential design, construction drawings, and bringing your vision to life from concept to blueprint. If you can dream it, we can design it. RT3 Design LLC. built on precision, designed for life.
Alrighty, shout out there to RT3 Designs as we get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back at it here this evening. It's the 10 ride of Michael Wolf out in front, ready for another big restart, ready for another good launch out of that Smoky Ridge racing ride as the 10 machine out in front here. I mean, this is going to be a shorter run now. I mean, only 12 laps when we go, well, no, 13 laps when we go back to Green Flag Racing. So 13 laps, can Wolf hold them off? Do we see Bromfield, Garland, Crowell? Maybe Colt Manich, who's back up into 5th here. Maybe they could make the moves, trying to pick up our second stage win of the day. Barton's up there as well. Would be a huge win there for the number 22 ride. We also see Mark Belair, Colton Manich, Killingbacks up into the 8th spot here on the Speedway. Grant Humphrey, Chris Muse, Tyler Humphrey, all right there, ready to make some big gains here, trying to work their way a little closer to the front of the pack, as you do see Tyler Humphreys there in 11th. Joshua Bromfield scored in 12th. Puffenbarger there in 13th. And now we do see Gary Wright, Wayne Garland, James Garland all catching back up to the field here. Here comes that 25 of Edward Belair as everyone should be good on fuel here. There's been enough yellow flag laps that I think a lot of these drivers that may have been a little bit tight on fuel should be good. I mean, if we get another yellow or two here before the end of the stage, I mean, they're really going to be good on gas, and that should set themselves up nicely here for some good stage points potentially, in trying to earn enough points to help them along and into our second round of the playoffs. As here we go back to Green Flag Racing. It's the 10 ride of Michael Wolf. Big launch, big jump right there out of that 10 ride. So for the Smoky Ridge number 10 machine, Wolf gets the launch that he was looking for and able to quickly open up a bit of a gap between himself and that 12 ride of Josh Bromfield. Bromfield right there in position number 2. Unfortunately, I mean, down the back straightaway, man, he has given up already 7/10 of a second here in the field. Just kind of at a standstill back behind that 10 car as Michael Wolf just trying to pull away from the rest of the field, hoping to try to put himself into just a good solid run and maybe the stage win here, especially if none of these guys can catch him out there on the racetrack. It's Josh Bromfield, Corey Crowell work their way up and into second and third on the Speedway. You see Anthony Garland back there in position at number 5. Grant Humphrey, Chris Muse, the number 22, and Nicholas Barton, Mike Killingback, Mark Belair right there as well in that 10th position. In that beautiful Kings Hawaiian number 11 ride, you do see he's working to the outside there. Look to try to find something above the outside of the 22 ride of Nicholas Barton. Unfortunately, not much there. That's going to allow Joshua Benton to slide up in front of him, and Benton will take at least one more spot away from that 11 ride of Mark Belair. Puffenbarger not too far away there in 13th with Gary Wright. Wayne Garland, James Garland back there as well in that 15th and 16th position. Edward Belair a little further back here. Unfortunately, Belair did not get caught up to the field there as we were going back to Green Flag Racing. So unfortunately, he has fallen quite a bit behind. But as of right now, you'll get another lucky break. Caution flag is back out, and that will line us up again for another restart here at our second stage of the day as the 48 ride, the Must Love Poodles machine of Grant Humphrey, going to run into some issues here. Tough break for Grant Humphrey, so he'll have to try to figure out a different strategy, maybe try to figure out a different game plan to not only win fast and competitive late in this race, but also try to put yourself into a position that you can try to make it happen. Let's take a look at it. So he's kind of in the middle right here. Tyler Humphrey down low. I don't know if the 70 ride just gets up the track right there. Then you see him and Mark Belair tied together. Mark's able to turn left. Unfortunately, there some pretty solid contact for that 48 ride of Grant Humphrey. Stands up into the infield safer barrier. But let's play this back a little bit more. See if there was a little bit to it, as I believe that is the number 70 ride back behind him. Was it 70 ride? I believe it was the 70 at Killingback right here, who kind of comes off the track a little bit, gets a piece of him. Yeah, right there. So I don't know if... It looks like he kind of pushes up the track. So if you watch the 70 ride here, looks like he's going to get a piece of the apron right there. 84 does come down a little bit, but that's just corner exit and trying to also work his way around the 81 ride. Unfortunately, Killingback either didn't think that was going to happen or thought that the 48 would have had a big enough run to stay just that bit in front of him. Unfortunately, though, it does end up flipping the 48 ride right there, and as he gets sideways, gets rolled over by a couple drivers back behind him, and unfortunately ends up down pit road with pretty serious damage there to the car of his. So he's gonna have to try to get it fixed up, try to get that 48 ride back out there onto the speedway and back into the battle here this evening. As Michael Wolf, though, out in front. Wolf has this top spot. Josh Bromfield there in second. Corey Crowell, Chris Muse, Colton Manich, our top five, all getting ready for this restart. Getting ready for what could be our final restart here of stage number 2. Stage 1, very clean and green. Some great battling, some great racing there in stage number 1. Stage number 2, the intensity's picked up a little bit more. Drivers are driving a little bit crazier out there, and unfortunately, for a lot of these guys, man, it's going to set them back deeper in the pack. It's going to put them into a bit of a pickle here, obviously losing all that track position. But for all these drivers, man, putting together a good race for us, man. Some great racing, some great action. It is going to be 52 laps completed this time by the start-finish line. We should see the lights turn off, the official iRacing pace car, meaning that we'll go back to green flag racing, virtually completing 53 laps of battle here this evening, which will bring into the question mark for everybody that is kind of outside the top 10. Where can you get to? Where can you move forward here to try to earn some points and put yourself into a spot to earn some stage points here this evening as we get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble here once again. We get ready to see these drivers just duke it out there on the racetrack, man. Don't go anywhere because you do not want to miss the great action here on Peacemaker Gaming.
Tonight's racing action is brought to you by RT3 Design LLC. When it comes to designing your dream home, precision matters, just like it does on the racetrack. At RT3 Design, we specialize in custom residential design, construction drawings, and bringing your vision to life from concept to blueprint. If you can dream it, we can design it. RT3 Design LLC, built on precision, designed for life. Tonight's racing action is brought to you by RT3 Design LLC. When it comes to designing your dream home, precision matters, just like it does on the racetrack. At RT3 Design, we specialize in custom residential design, construction drawings, and bringing your vision to life from concept to blueprint. If you can dream it, we can design it. RT3 Design LLC, built on precision, designed for life.
Alrighty, here we go, ready to roll, ready to rumble once again for what will draw us in to potentially the end of our second stage of the day. So our second stage break just here upon us as the 12 ride of Bromfield, the 10 ride of Wolf, ready to roll, ready to rumble, ready to get back after it. Wolf is the control car. As the pace car hits pit road, hits that pit lane, I mean, he's able to fire off prior to that restart zone. Gets a great launch, big restart there for him, and able to quickly, once again, just kind of pull out in front, put himself into a position where he's a few car lengths in front of our second and third place drivers, and now hoping that they continue to battle for second and third and allow him to run farther and farther away as he's looking to try to pick up this stage win as Chris Muse works his way up and into position number 2. Here comes Corey Crowell, the 0-0. Colton Manich there as well, trying to work their way up and into position number 3 here on the Speedway. Josh Bromfield trying to hold them off, trying to keep them back there at bay. As you do see Tyler Humphrey starting to work his way back into the picture. Anthony Garland falls back into that 7th spot on the Speedway. Nicholas Barton Joshua Benton, the number 16 at Gary Wright, continuing to switch spots back here for position number 10, as you do see the number 84, Wayne Garland, just outside the top 10 looking in. So is Brandon Puffenbarger, Mike Killingbeck, Grant Humphreys back there. We do see Mark Belair as well as Edward Belair, both here deeper in the field. James Garland, unfortunately, is still a lap down, or multiple laps down out there on the racetrack, as I believe he's not too far away from potentially losing another lap out there on the Speedway, but only 5 laps left to go again here in this stage. He's going to have to do everything he can to try to keep these guys back there at bay, try to keep himself as the first driver, only 1 lap down out there on the Speedway. And for a guy that's 1 lap down out there on the track, I mean, it's going to be tough for James to try to battle back through it, man. He's going to need to try to get a little bit lucky here, trying to keep himself on the lead lap and hope that, the stage does come to a close and he's able to potentially get the lucky dog, as he's the only driver right now that is 1 lap down. But for Edward Belair, he's not too far away from potentially losing a lap here himself. He's a little bit more off the pace in that beautiful MMG number 25 ride as he rolls back in 16th. Definitely seems like there might be something to miss there with that race car. Definitely a lot more off the pace than the rest of the field. But for right now, I mean, our front 3 drivers, man, they are just absolutely zooming out there on the Speedways. We do see some issues back here a little deeper for the number 16 of Gary Wright, and there's the caution flag. So the caution flag will come out. I do believe with this one being inside 5 laps to go in the stage, this will end our stage. Let's take a look at it as Gary Wright in the 69 ride. That's the 69 going to go for a big run down low for Joshua Benton, then moves up the racetrack, goes for a bit of a slide job. Unfortunately, just miscalculates it, pushes too far up into the outside fence, then hooks the 16 ride. He ends up into the outside fence there himself. And Brandon Puffenbarger also getting some pretty solid contact into that. So Puffenbarger, unfortunately, didn't really know where to go. And all of a sudden, 16 ride parked right there in front of him. Big hit there for both of those drivers. Heavy damage there for both cats here midway through this race as we get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to get back after it, ready to get back to battle here this evening. As, man, been a great show, been a great race, and for each and every one of these competitors, man, this has been a lot of fun out there on the Speedway. But for some, maybe not as much fun, but we should see James Garland get the lucky dog here potentially, and potentially work his way back on the lead lap here in stage number 2. So to get back on the lead lap, to get back into the battle here, would be great news there for James Garland, trying to keep with it, stick with it, and hoping to put that Vanguard Sim Racing ride potentially up and into victory lane here this evening. Definitely going to be on the right note of it here, getting back on the lead lap and back into play here this evening, as Michael Wolf does elect to stay out. So doesn't Josh Bromfield, Wayne Garland, and it looks like Mark Belair also going to elect to stay out here on the racing surface, all looking for some big stage points, hoping that it could be enough to advance them through into the next round of the playoffs here in the Outcast Racing League. So for a couple of these drivers, man, they're willing to make those risks, they're willing to make those changes and try to put themselves into that winner's circle. But we'll get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble here once again. Another restart on the horizon. And for each and every one of these drivers, man, I mean, it's been a pretty crazy race. Obviously, a few decent-sized wrecks. A lot of drivers, unfortunately, getting tore up out there on the racetrack. And if they keep it up in this race, I mean, our field could get quite a bit smaller here before that checkered flag, as we're only virtually halfway through this feature event. Not even quite halfway through it yet, as I believe we got to get the lap about 62.5. We're only at lap 58.6, so still need a few more laps there to hit that halfway marker. But for a lot of these drivers, I mean, had a bad first stage, had a bad second stage. You can still turn it all around if you can jump out there, find that groove, find that speed, and try to put yourself up and, maybe into play for the race lead late in this race, and maybe even try to put yourself up and into victory lane as we get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble here once again. Looks like down across the line, that will complete lap number 59 here this evening. So 59 laps complete. It'll be 60 laps completed this next time by the start finish line, as the lights are again off the official iRacing pace car, and we get ready to rumble here again from Michigan International Speedway. More great racing, more great battling here this evening as a couple drivers were down pit road there. A few drivers did elect to stay out. Our front three here, all on that, older tire, older fuel strategy. We do see one driver that was down pit side on lap 52 of Mark Belair, scored in position number 4. So a little bit newer, a little bit fresher tires in the front three, and not as old compared to the freshies back behind him. But you do take a look at drivers like Wayne Garland, who's up there, Mark Belair, who's up there. That could definitely wreak havoc here. And you take a look at drivers that are going to be pushing hard, heavily here. The 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey, the 3 of Chris Muse, Grant Humphreys right back up there as well. Killing back Edward Belair, Colton Manich, some of these drivers that are outside the top 10, but are hoping to try to find their way up there, looking for some, must-needed stage points here this evening. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of makes those moves, who tries to put themselves, into the winning position. We'll have to wait and find out. But here in stage number 2, it has come to a close, and we get them all ready to go. Our final stage of the day is 60 laps will be completed. It will be 65 laps left to go here in this feature event. So 65 more laps. I'll have to duke it out here in this one, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really fun, especially if we see things stay clean and green and potentially start to see, some good green flag laps being laid down. As here we go, back to battle. Michael Wolf, big restart, big launch, but the caution flag does quickly come back out. Now, I'm not sure if maybe they technically called that stage break at the end of lap number 60, or if there was an issue back here. Really look like it. Race control. 69 got an EOL penalty. Caution was thrown by Anthony Garland, so I believe that they kept it technically going. The stage kept going until the end of lap number 60, which was virtually this restart. I don't know why they just wouldn't have used the yellow flag beforehand, but we'll take a look here. Michael Wolf will win the drag race from the restart zone back down and across the line. So Wolf, Bromfield, 1 and 2 in the stage. Looks like Wayne Garland, with maybe that little bit of strategy, will come out here with a second place run in stage number 2. You do see Chris Muse in the 11 ride of Mark Belair. That would have been a tight battle back down across the line. Potentially the 3 ride had it. Potentially Mark Belair was still in that 4th position. No, it looks like the 3 does beat him back down the line. So it is Chris Muse in 4th, Belair back in 5th, Tyler Humphrey, Grant Humphrey, the 70 of Mike Killingbeck, the 0-0 Colton Manich, and the number, I believe, the 25 ride of Edward Belair comes home in position number 10 here in this stage. But that is just going to bring more drivers down pit road, more drivers wanting to make these pit stops and obviously try to set themselves up for a good final run of the day. Is some drivers are going to elect to stay out. We see Mark Belair, looks like he's staying out. Colton Manich, he's going to stay out. Looks like Anthony Garland, Edward Belair, Nicholas Barton, they're all going to stick with their strategies. But obviously for a lot of these other drivers, they're still getting ready to roll back out there after making these extra pit stops, man. This is going to be fun to see as Chris Muse, Tyler Humphrey out in 2nd. There's the 10 ride as well as Bromfield and Mike Killingbeck, Wayne Garland, Gary Wright, Corey Crowell's down there in 15th. James Garland, Brandon Buffenbarger back there deeper in the field as we get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble once again here this evening for another restart, another big restart. And oh man, heartbreaker here for Corey Crowell. Looks like Crowell had earned a black flag down pit side. We'll have to wait and see if that black flag holds, or if it does get removed by any of these other admins here this afternoon. I don't know. That's just a weird black flag. Must have gotten it speeding down pit road and doing that during, caution flag here. You don't serve that penalty under the yellow. You unfortunately have to make a pass-through penalty with potentially a hold throughout the green flag conditions. So that could definitely set Corey Crowell back a ton here this evening. That's going to put him into a really, really difficult position as we'll get them all locked and loaded, ready to roll, ready to rumble here again this evening, man, for what will be another big restart here. Another big restart, another crazy one for everyone to try to get the launch that they need, try to work their way into the picture that they want here for potentially trying to win this race. As we'll get them all ready to roll, ready to rumble. Mark Belair will consume the race lead. So Mark Belair now out in front will lead us back to the green flag. Colton Manich, Edward Belair, Nicholas Barton, and Anthony Garland will be our top 5, as we did see the Humphreys all down pit road right there. That's Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, the 3-rider Chris Muse had made their way back down pit road, getting extra fuel and everything inside their race cars and getting ready to go back at it here, getting ready to get back after it here this evening as the lights are off. The official iRacing pace cars. We're just past our halfway marker officially here this evening. So halfway in, halfway to go here this evening, and for each and every one of these drivers, still trying to figure out their car, trying to figure out this racetrack, and hoping that they can try to put themselves up and into the winner's circle here this evening. As Mark Belair, Colton Manich, ready to get back after it here, ready to go back to battle as single file restarts here. Looks like our admin team going to call single file restarts, trying to keep things a little bit more cool, calm, and collected if they're on the racetrack, hoping that, doesn't tear up any more cars, but we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. As here we go, back down towards that restart zone. The 11 rider, Mark Belair, our race leader, gets the call, gets the launch, and able to quickly jump out in front here by a few car lengths, doing exactly what he needs to do to try to keep that 0-0. Colton Manich back there at base. Manich, though, sticking right there with them. Here comes Edward Belair, the number 22 of Nicholas Barton. Anthony Garland's there in 5th. Unfortunately for the 81 ride, we'll have to wait and see if he can try to make that move around the 22, the 25 machine right here in front of him. Try to see if he can get back up into the battle inside our top 3 here this evening. Obviously, you look back at, Muse and Tyler Humphrey also equally back there deeper in the pack. And for drivers that led the first stage virtually for every lap of that first stage, I mean, they're looking a little farther back here. When you look at Chris Muse, you look at Tyler Humphrey, I mean, just inside our top 10, but unfortunately just not able to make enough moves to try to jump back out in front. So it looks like track position is going to be the key to potentially winning this race later on here this evening. It could all be down to making those right pit calls, the right pit strategy, and trying to put yourself into a good position out there on the racetrack for those final few laps. But for the 0-0, Colton Manich, he jumps out in front. He will continue to lead the charge here in this one, trying to keep the rest of these guys back there at bay as he just laid down his quickest lap of this race. Oh, man, blazing fast lap time there for the 0-0. As the clean air, the fresh air here has definitely kind of brought this 0-0 ride back to life. And here he is just ready to pounce, ready to make some big moves as he does see the 2 ride there at Corey Crowell after serving his penalty down pit road. Well, roll back out there, and he's going to try to stay here open to try to stay on the lead lap. But it looks like with the race leaders being right there on his back bumper, I'm not sure if he's going to have much to do here. Allows the 0-0 to continue to work to his outside, and for the 0-0 of Mr. Manich, he's going to clear the 2-rider, Corey Crowell. So Crowell now falls to our first driver 1 lap down out there on the Speedway, and unfortunately for the 2 ride, he's going to need a big caution flag and a quick hurry to try to work his way back on the lead lap and back into the battle here this evening. As of right now, they are definitely not quite the runs that they were hoping for, but definitely could be a whole lot worse if you finish off this race back there at the rear of the field. Take yourself out of any playoff contention here in your career. So great moves, great battles, great fun here this evening. And for Corey Crowell, he's looking to get it all done here late in this race, but we'll have to make a huge battle back here to get back not only on the lead lap with maybe a lucky dog, a free pass, but also try to work his way back up through that traffic and try to work that 2 ride up and into a winning position. But for right now, the winning position belongs to that 0-0 of Colton Manich, who's right there in front of him. Manich definitely could pull over, allowed his Shenko custom diecast number 2 car get around him here, get that lap back. As much as it may hurt a little bit of your time out there on the racetrack, it may be better to let that car behind you kind of get going, get forward, and try to keep Corey Crowell at least on the lead lap here. Obviously right now kind of back behind the 8-ball, needs that caution flag, needs a wave around her, needs to find his way around that 0-0 machine to try to work himself back into, a good run, good race, and a good battle out there on the racetrack. And obviously trying to get some good boney points out of it as well, trying to get a good finish out there on the Speedway. So we'll see how that kind of plays out for a couple of these drivers as each and every one of them continue to battle here this evening. But there's been a lot of movement back here, a lot of drivers bouncing around still. Luckily enough, it's been a lot more clean and green for this restart, as you do see Joshua Benton. He's trying to chase down Grant Humphrey. Grant's trying to reel in that 12 right of Josh Bromfield. Bromfield looking to try to hold him off is a little farther forward. We do see Edward Belair now trying to hold off the 9 right of Tyler Humphrey. Tyler has worked his way up and into that 6th position and quickly trying to reel back in our race leaders here, trying to put himself right back into the battle for, a good run, good finish, and maybe the dump here still this afternoon as across the line they complete lap number 71. So 71 laps down, still quite a few laps left to go here. A lot of laps, a lot of battle in here. Yeah, luckily enough for Las Vegas, man, it is a very, very fun speedway. Very interesting one, but definitely can get really, really hot out there for a lot of these drivers. So it'll be fun to see kind of how this will play out for them. But for the 9 right of Tyler Humphrey, up into that 6th position, battling back strong here after making a couple of those pit stops. Being mired deep into the field here is no easy task to battle back, especially if you are trying to save a little bit of fuel out there on the racetrack. But I think for a lot of these drivers, hitting back on lap number 62, somewhere in that area, for some even back on lap 58, you got to imagine you can run about 24, maybe 25 laps of green flag racing until you got to be back down pit road. So it's going to be tight here on fuel. 24 laps, 25 laps even. It's going to be really, really tight. Everyone's going to be back down pit road, I think, here at least 2 more times this afternoon. At least 2 more potential green flag pit stops before the end of this race for all these drivers. But nonetheless, man, some great racing, some great action out there on the Speedway. And for the number 9, Humphrey, trying to work his way back up towards the front here. He's worked his way around Anthony Garland, now going after the 22 ride here as well of Mark Belair, and unfortunately that's where he's going to get kind of logged in there for a little bit. We'll have to wait and see what he's able to do to try to reel in that 0-0 of Colton Manich, or his teammate, that 3 ride of Chris Muse, as Muse down low able to put the power down around Mark Belair, steal that 2nd spot. Tyler Humphrey able to go right there with him, and for Tyler, picks up another big spot, works his way up and into 3rd, and now for him and his teammate Chris Muse, they got a lot of room here to work with, but they definitely got a lot of opportunities to reel in that Shenko Custom Diecast number 0-0 ride, as Manich trying to hang on to it, trying to keep these guys back there at bay. What so far has been a really, really fun, really good race here this evening. There's been a few issues, a few incidents, but for the most part, man, quick cleanups and getting all these drivers back out there, back into the battle here this evening. As it looked like we went back green flag racing on lap number 66. So lap 66, we go back to green flag racing, and for a lot of drivers, they were able to be put into a good spot here late in this race. So I think for each and every one of them, you're trying to hit your mark on fuel, you're trying to figure out the tires, but also trying to find that find that throttle and try to race your way up there. You do see the 2 ride. He's going to in that battle back there for that 2nd and 3rd position. Unfortunately for Crowell, he is still scored as the first driver. 1 lap down. Luckily enough, he is close enough to the front of the field that if more drivers do start to lose laps, when we look back here at James Garland, who is currently about 15, 16 seconds off our race leaders. He's the next one to go kind of at line to potentially lose a lap out there. Even Joshua Benton and Wayne Garland a little deeper compared to our lead pack here. Same with the 16 of Gary Wright. Even Buffenbarger a little farther back there as well. They're in that 12th position on the Speedway. But for Colton Manich, he's out in front, hanging on to this race lead and looking to try to pick up a big dub here this evening as he heads down and through corner number 3 and out at corner number 4. Back down across the line. He'll complete lap in number 77 as we'll jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We want you guys to crank up that volume, cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Alrighty, a great cranking up session right there as these drivers give us the sights and sounds around Michigan International Speedway is out in front after green flag pit stops. It is the 10 ride of Michael Wolf. Wolf has the top spot. He has this race lead, and he's actually separated himself a good chunk between him and Edward Belair. Edward rolls there in position number 2. Manage up and into 3rd here as Anthony Garland falls back into position number 4 here on the Speedway. Right behind him is his Poor Boy Motorsports teammate, that 12 ride of Josh Bromfield doing a great job, having a good solid top 5 performance so far here this evening. Then we do see Tyler Humphrey, Chris Muse, the 48 ride of I believe that is Grant Humphrey. All right, they're tight together, all 3 of them battling there for the Muscle Love Poodles team just inside our top 10. Mark Belair's back in 11th with Brandon Puffenbarger there in 10th. And obviously we do see Mike Killing back, Nicholas Barton, Wayne Garland, Joshua Benton, James Garland, and Gary Wright running at our top 16. Back in 17th is that 2 ride of Corey Crowell. Now for Crowell and Gary Wright, they will find themselves 1 lap down. James Garland, the next driver to potentially lose a lap, but for Gary Wright and Corey Crowell, they got to keep on battling. They got to keep digging here to try to put themselves in position to get that lucky dog, the free pass if the caution flag does come back out here this evening. As of right now, though, as it's sitting clean and green, man, they're clicking off some great laps here throughout this run, and obviously seeing our first wave of green flag pit stops, exciting to see. And for a lot of these drivers, that's going to bring into that question mark, how much farther can you go? And I believe everyone's going to have to make at least 1 more stop here this evening. I think the farthest we've really seen anyone go is about that 24, 25 laps to a run that we saw throughout our first stage of the day. So I think for a lot of these drivers, probably back down pit side somewhere around lap, 105-ish area, somewhere in there. Maybe for a few others that stretched a little bit farther, maybe they come down pit road a little bit later there, and maybe even closer towards that 110 lap marker. Give them 15 laps of good tires and hope that any gap that they give up, that they can gain back and hopefully use that to race their way to the front of the field here. We'll have to wait and see, because right now it's gonna be really interesting. I mean, having this good green flag run, you gotta wonder if it'll stay that way or if we will see potentially some late race yellows kind of affect how the outcome of this race is, because we'll have a lot of drivers that will potentially come back down pit road, put an extra set of tires on, other drivers that are going to be more inclined to try to keep the track position, as this is a track that, I mean, tires are important, but they're not super crazy good, especially if you can catch a caution flag in there, if you can catch a really short run. The drivers that are back a little deeper in the field that may go for 4 tires or 2 tires may not have enough time to make enough passes to chase their way up and around you. So I think there's going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be kind of taking gambles here late in this race, if there is a late race yellow here on the Speedway. But I think for right now, the game plan for everyone, probably make it just past lap 100, maybe somewhere closer to 105 before they hit pit road again, start to make these green flag pit stops and their final pit stops of the day for each and every one of them out there on the Speedway, or at least potential final pit stop here, because you just never quite know if there is that late race yellow who may take that gamble, hit pit lane again, try to put themselves into maybe a winning position late in this race. If they can kind of just time those pit stops right, make a couple good passes, catch a caution flag or 2, maybe put themselves into position to gain a few extra spots, put themselves into a spot to maybe win this race, especially if we go to multiple NASCAR overtimes out there on the Speedway. So we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, it's Colton Manich who's got that race lead. Manich out in front. He's worked his way back around Edward Belair and Michael Wolf. Wolf falls back into position number 3 here on the Speedway. Edward Belair there in second, having himself a great day here at the Speedway in that Detroit Lions and number 25 ride. Then we do see Anthony Garland still there in 4th, but you do see the Must Love Poodles rides have kind of tracked down the Poor Boy Motorsports machines as Josh Bromfield and Anthony Garland, they got a rear view mirror full of Grant Humphrey, Chris Muse, Tyler Humphrey, all right there stacked together trying to race their way back out towards the front of the pack. And unfortunately, they may get chewed up and spat out. So I think for the 12 of Bromfield, the 81 of Garland, they just got to try to figure out a plan or a strategy here on to kind of slow these guys up a little bit, try to help them out, maybe give them an extra spot or two late in this race, needing every point they can to try to advance their way into the next round of our playoffs. So for each and every one of these drivers, man, they need every single run they can. They need every single point they can if you want to keep yourself alive and in the hunt here for a championship in this 11th season of the Outcast Racing League. But for Grant Humphrey, Muse, Garland, Tyler Humphrey, you throw Josh Bromfield, who's now fallen all the way back into that 8th position into the mix, man. Some great racing here for what is position number 4 on the Speedway. Mark Belair a little farther back there in the 11. Ryan Killingbecks there in position number 10. Puffenbarger in 11th with Nicholas Barton, Wayne Garland, and everyone else back there behind our top 13 on the Speedway, as Joshua Benton scored in 14th. Corey Crowell, who is a lap down, scored there in 15th. Now, James Garland has also lost the lap. Unfortunately for James here, not only has he lost the lap and went a lap down, he's also fallen out of that lucky dog position, as Crowell's been able to work his way around Gary Wright and James Garland to put himself into that free pass spot. But other drivers, you look back here at Joshua Benton, even Wayne Garland, I mean, they are definitely a lot more off the pace, kind of all by their lonesome out there on the Speedway, and could definitely open up the picture frame here that our race leaders may be able to catch them, may be able to put them a lap down as well, and continue to try to keep Crowell, James Garland, Gary Wright back there, trap the lap down throughout the rest of this race. But for right now, I mean, Colton Manich wants to see it stay clean and green as they just completed lap 100 here this evening. So 100 laps in, 25 laps left to go. It'll be 24 this time by the start-finish line, and I believe that's going to open up the pit window. I believe everyone, if they were to pit right now, get their car completely filled up on fuel, they can make it 24 laps. That's all we got left here in this race, but I feel a lot of these drivers are going to try to prepare or set themselves up nicely here for maybe a couple NASCAR overtime this afternoon, because you never just know. You always got to expect it and always plan for it. So we'll have to wait and see. As you did see the 25 ride of Edward Belair trying to make a move, trying to steal that race lead away from Colton Manich. Unfortunately, did not get the run he was looking for on corner exit, and for the 25 ride does fall about 5-6 car lengths off the back bumper of that 0-0 ride now, after almost sliding up in front of him and taking that top spot. Unfortunately, now we'll have to try to mount another challenge. We'll have to try to battle back here to that number 0-0 ride at Colton Manich, see if he can make another move, another shot at it to try to steal this race lead from the 0-0 ride late in this race, as we get closer and closer to maybe seeing our final wave of green flag pit stops. And as those guys were battling, I mean, Grant Humphrey has marched his way up and into 4th, and he is quickly reeling in Michael Wolf and Belair. Colton Manich here for the top spot. You can throw Tyler Humphrey right into that mix, our early race leader. Chris Muse is right there as well in that 6th position. So for a lot of these drivers, I mean, starting to make these late race moves, starting to make these charges towards the front of the pack, and hoping to try to race their way up and into victory lane here this evening. And I think the battle at the front of the field is just starting to heat up here, as green flag pit stops maybe just around the corner, and that could be make or break your day. This final stop, if it's under green flag conditions, man, you got to make sure you're absolutely perfect down pit side. You cannot open up the door, make a mistake, and potentially put yourself into a bad spot, as we do see a few drivers hit pit road. Okay, here we go. We see the 81 of Anthony Garland, the 11 of Mark Belair, Josh Bromfield. They hit pit road, so for the Poor Boy Motorsports rides, and it looks like for Bromfield, got in there at a bit of a weird angle. Unfortunately, the crew could not go to quick service, and that's going to cost him a lot of time and a lot of positions out there on the racetrack. Here comes our race leader, the 0-0, Colton Manich. Manich is down pit side, so he hits his pit stall. in that 0-0 machine. The crew's going to go to work. There's the right sides on it. They'll jack up the left side here as well. Put 4 fresh tires onto that 0-0 ride and send him back out there along his way late in this race. And now here we go. Here comes Edward Belair. Edward will hit pit road as well. This is the money stop. The pay window is open. You cannot make a mistake down pit side and put yourself into a bad position here in the later stages of this race. I mean, basically only 20 laps left to go here in this one, man. 20 laps left to duke it out. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, down to those final few moments to try to make the moves, the runs that you need to try to put yourself into victory lane here this evening as Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, that 10 ride of Michael Wolf still right here with them. The 11 ride, unfortunately, has went a lap down after already making his green flag stop. He sits there in 11th, but currently is scored as the first driver 1 lap down. Edward Belair rolls back out onto the racetrack here. We'll see where he kind of comes out in comparison to Colton Manich. Manich down through corner number 1 and 2. He'll take a big run, but I believe, I mean, for at least right now, Mark Belair's in front of him. Edward Belair, I think, is going to be in front of him as well, but maybe just taking less tires or something there, or just a little bit quicker of a pit stop for Edward Belair and Mark Belair to put themselves in front of that 0-0 of Colton Manich. Now, Colton has ran into more problems here. He's disappeared off the racetrack. I don't know what. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's back. I thought maybe he lost connection to the server or something there. He blanked for a while and disappeared from the racing surface, but luckily enough, he is back out there and still rolling, has not ran into any problems. But we did see Joshua Benton down pit side here in that 69 ride. He'll roll back out there. Unfortunately for Bromfield, man, he lost so much time down pit road with that mistake into his pit stall. That really set him back, and unfortunately in a tough spot out there on the track as of right now. But for right now, it is Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, Chris Muse who continue to lead the way. Puffenbarger hits pit road. Wayne Garland, he's looking like maybe he's about to hit pit road this time. He's down on towards the apron, and now here he comes. He takes that Vanguard Sim Racing 84 right in. Oh, unfortunately, onto the binders there. Locks up that left front, pulls the car down into the pit wall right there. Pretty big hit for the 84. That was a huge mistake, man. He was having himself a pretty solid run, a pretty decent day at the Speedway. That'll give him a lot of left front damage and will kill a lot of time here on this green flag stop. So that may set him back a lot more. And now here we go. Tyler Humphrey, Grant Humphrey, the 3 machine, Chris Muse, all the Muscle Love Poodles rides hit pit road themselves. So they hit pit lane. They look to make their final stop of the day as Michael Wolf still rolling out there here. Wolf is yet to make this final stop of the evening. He is still rolling out here. Sitting pretty as of right now. Really not pushing the subject. Not trying to put himself into a bad spot. But, I mean, he's going to have to come down pit road very soon, man. He's got to be running on fumes here in this number 10 ride. But it looks like he's going to try to stretch it as far as he can and maybe for as long as he can. That may give him a bit better tire late in this race, especially if there's a late race caution. I mean, would definitely keep a lot of drivers trapped the lap down or having to take waiver rounds or something to try to get back into the battle here this evening. But for right now, the 10 ride just sticking with it, staying out there, not coming down pit road, and we'll have to wait and see when he finally does decide to hit pit lane, as that should cycle the number 25 of Edward Belair back out in front. Chris Muse looks like he's out of the pits and in front of the 0-0. So it looks like for Chris Muse could be scored in second. Tyler Humphrey there in third. And we would see Colton Manich back in fourth. Mark Belair there in fifth now with Grant Humphrey, Anthony Garland, Mike Killingbeck, Brandon Puffenbarger. Potentially rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. We'll have to wait and see where Michael Wolf, who's officially now down pit side for his final stop of this race. And unfortunately there for the 10 ride, shoots it in there a little too far. Has to throw it in reverse. Finally gets that thing jacked up, tires going on it, service being done. But that is going to cost him a little bit more time out there on the racetrack. But he goes for a 2-tire stop right there. So, bit of a different strategy call. Maybe need a little less fuel. Goes for the 2 right sides, not 4 tires, and hoping that still gives him a good spot out there on the racetrack. It still puts him into a decent battle here for a good finish late in this race. But for Edward Belair, he's got the race lead, but he's got a pair of must-love poodles all over his back bumper. Chris Muse, Tyler Humphrey, they want this race lead. They want to work their way back out in front with Colton Manich back in position number 4. He'll be looking for more here late in this race. If there is some craziness or some contact between our top 3, could definitely see the 0-0 poke his nose right into that battle. Mark Belair a little farther back. It has Grant Humphrey working to his inside, but it's Tyler Humphrey who is able to work his way around Edward Belair, and unfortunately for that Detroit Lions number 25 ride, does fall back into second. Chris Muse sticking right there with him, trying to stay glued to his back bumper, hoping to make a move and try to make this at least 1-2 finish here today, potentially for the Must-Love Poodles team, as down through corner 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. They'll drag race back to the line here, but looks like the 3 ride will complete that pass. Slides up in front of the 25 of Edward Belair. So it's a Must-Love Poodles 1-2 out there on the Speedway with only 12 laps left to go. 12 more laps left to duke it out here in this one. Chris Muse, Tyler Humphrey, Edward Belair, Colton Manich, Grant Humphrey rounding out our top 5. And then we do see Mark Belair, Michael Wolf, Anthony Garland's there in 8th, Brandon Puffenbarger there in 9th, and then we do see Mike Killingback there in that 10th position. Nicholas Barton, Wayne Garland, Josh Bromfield back in 13th, Joshua Benton in that 14th position. Corey Crowell still scores the first driver 1 lap down out there on the racetrack in that 15th position. Gary Wright is in 16th with James Garland bringing up the rear of the field in that Vanguard Sim Racing RT3 Designs number 37 ride. As out in front, though, Tyler Humphrey, man, he led the first 20 laps of this race. He's hoping that he can lead virtually the last 20 laps as well, and trying to put himself up and into victory lane again here in the Outcast Racing League. We'll have to wait and see if he can get it done, if he can capture the dub here this evening, or maybe his teammate Chris Muse. I mean, late in this race, if they got a big enough gap, a big enough lead between themselves and our 3rd place driver, I think, you know, Muse may go for it. He may try to steal this win away from that 9 ride of Tyler Humphrey, try to put himself up and into victory lane, try to put himself into the winning position here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see if that's how things will play out for the 9 and 3 rider. And we do see Colton Manich or Grant Humphrey, Mark Belair, one of these drivers potentially find that extra gear. Maybe they were just saving a little bit for late in this race to try to make these moves, try to race their way up there and try to put themselves up into the winner's circle. But they are quickly running out of time as our leaders back down across the line. It's only 9 laps left to go, and I think if you're obviously, Chris Muse, you're fairly content here. You know, you're probably good on points to get to the next round of the playoffs, but at the same point in time, a teammate picks up the dub. You don't want to put yourself into a bad position where you make contact there late in this race between the 2 of you and cost both of you potentially the win here this evening, as Mark Belair would love to try to reel them back in and rejoin this battle here at the front of the field late in this race. Unfortunately, he is running out of time at a quick hurry. You do see the 0-0 Colton Manich right there in position number 4. He'd love to jump in there, gain a couple extra spots, as well as you see Manich. Grant Humphreys back there in position number 5. Mark Belair's back in 6 with Wolf, Garland, Brandon Puffenbarger and Killingback rounding out our top 10 here in the closing laps of an amazing race from Michigan International Speedway. These guys have been putting together a great run and a great show for us right from the drop of the green flag and getting right down to our checkered flag here this evening. It'll be fun to see who is going to get it done here in this one, as the Must-Love Poodles ride still roll 1 and 2. They have separated themselves now by about 1.6 seconds between themselves and our 3rd place driver, which is now Colton Manich. Manich has worked his way up and into the 3rd. Looks like the 48 Ryan going to go with him. So Grant Humphrey decides, okay, yep, I'll take that spot. He jumps up there as well. They both slide in front of this number 25 machine of Mark Belair. And unfortunately, or Edward Belair, sorry, and Mark Belair's back in 6. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they're a little bit more burnt out here, a little bit more less grip for the 25 ride. Unfortunately, it looks like he's showing that now as he's fading farther and farther back away from the police officers here on the racetrack. So it's interesting to see how a lot of these drivers are battling out there or chasing each other down, trying to work their way in front of them and trying to, put these guys into a little bit of a trance out there, trying to lock them in behind them or just trying to, keep them back there at bay. And for right now, I mean, Colton Man's doing a great job of doing that, holding off and keeping Grant Humphrey from making the pass around him. And Grant definitely making some moves here late in this race. See if he can try to make this a 1-2-3 Must Love Poodles finish out there on the racetrack. Tyler Humphrey, Chris Muse, they're just still dancing out in front here with only 5 laps left to go. I mean, it's all Hakuna Matata for those two out in front as everything is no worries for them right now. They are just sitting pretty out there, 1 and 2. But you gotta wonder, I mean, I know Muse wants to get the win, but I mean, it's still team first kind of orientated kind of racing. But I mean, Muse may want this win just as badly as Tyler Humphrey. So they may kind of get to that final lap and go, okay, you know what? No more teamwork. It's every man for himself on that final lap and see who can come away with it as Muse wants it. As he takes a peek down to the inside. Oh, man, that's just such a hard move to make right there. Just going to kill the momentum out of core number 2 there for that 3 machine. He'll have to take another lap or so to try to build that speed, that momentum again, to try to get another run, another opportunity at this 9 ride. I feel like you got to size him up. You got to line him up for a big run on the high side and, like, corner number 1 and 2, and then back down through 3 and 4. You got to take it to the inside, try to go for maybe like a bit of a slide jaw move on him to steal that top spot away from the car in front of you this late in the race. And with 3 laps left to go, I mean, Muse is running out of time in that move last time through 1 and 2, trying to get to the inside as late as he did. Just killed so much speed for him and sent him too far back, I think, to be able to really get a good run. But we've seen him, draw his way back right into the rear bumper of that 9 ride, and now with some lap traffic just in front of him. That's the 84 of Wayne Garland. Wayne, obviously a little damage here on that left front. Obviously, car struggling right here. Does fall a lap down. Unfortunately, will be back in that 13th position. We did see the number 69 of Joshua Benton also lose a lap. So even if there is a late race caution, I mean, Crowell no longer in that free pass spot out there on the racetrack. Scored back in 15th. Tough break and tough day for him, but a good day for a few more of these drivers points-wise as Tyler Humphrey, Chris Muse, 1 and 2. Grant Humphrey has worked his way up and into position number 3 as Manage falls back into that 4th spot here on the Speedway. Edward Belair, big day here for the 25 ride. Michael Wolf, Mark Belair, really good race there for the 11 machine. Brandon Puffenbarger, they're in position number 8. Good rebound to the day for the number 5 ride. Anthony Garland's back in 9th, and Mike Killingbeck rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. But Tyler Humphrey does see the white flag fly, so the final time around here from Michigan International Speedway, the 9 of Tyler Humphrey will lead us down the back straightaway for the final time here this evening as the 3 machine of Chris Muse will get one more shot, one more opportunity, sends it in deep down through corner 3 and 4, but out of 4, oh, Tyler Humphrey scrapes the outside fence. Here we go, back down to the line. It is the 9 of Tyler Humphrey who will pick up the checkered flag. Chris Muse will come home in 2nd. Grant Humphrey there in 3rd as it is a 1-2-3 finish. A podium sweep for the Must Love Poodles team again here this evening. The boys are feeling A-okay during our playoff session here, man. Our playoffs just getting started. They are definitely firing on all cylinders, and for the Haptic Performance Racing team hooked up here this evening, Muse, Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, 1, 2, and 3 out there on the Speedway, putting together a heck of a run and a great show for all of us to enjoy here this evening as we'll get ready for them to jump up into the booth with us here for their post-race interviews as each and every one of these drivers, man, good runs, good performances, man. A few early caution flags there, especially through stage number 2, but for the most part, just Good, hard racing and a great show by each and every one of these drivers. As Must Love Poodle says, 1, 2, 3 for the Poodles again. They are the boys to beat. Says, proud of that team. Glad to have Chris sporting our logo too. Yeah, Chris looking good, looking strong out there for Tyler Humphrey. He's feeling good. He's obviously hooked up here the last few weeks. So is in Grant Humphrey, who comes home in that third position. And I believe for all three of them should be A-OK to advance into the next round of our playoffs. I believe Grant and Tyler came in 1 and 2 in the point standings. Muse was tied for 5th, but Devin Black and Jameson Heath not here this evening. Muse getting a little bit better finish than Bolton managed. They could be all inside the top 4, maybe top 3 in the point standings going into the next round of our playoffs as well, into that top 12 in the playoffs here. Each and every one of these drivers. We'll get ready to pull Tyler, Chris Muse, and Grant Humphrey all up into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews as the number 9 of Tyler Humphrey picks up the dub. We'll get him up here into the booth for his post-race interview here in just a second or two. My booth, there it is. All right, let's get him in here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Tyler Humphrey. Hey, Tyler, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Tyler, man, another great run, another great race for yourself, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind after 125 laps of battling here in Michigan.
Yeah, not sure to be if I'm disappointed or excited. Feel like we come to every single one of these ends of the season, and it's just a rough day. I don't know. I want to apologize to Jamie for the contact early on in the race. I was trying to save fuel and just was going to bump him down the straightaway, got him loose. But yeah, I don't know. I can't condone what happened today. I don't know if broadcast caught it, but nearly getting wrecked on the backstretch is not how I wanted my day to go. I don't really know if I have much more to say about today, so it's unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely, tough racing, tight battles out there, and then obviously for yourself, I mean, being able to still come back from all that and park yourself up here in victory lane, a 1-2-3 finish again for the Haptic Performance Racing team, and you got to be feeling pretty happy about that, obviously, for you guys firing on all cylinders here in our playoffs, and by the looks of it, all three moving on into our round of 12 here. For trying to chase down a championship, and right now having 3 ponies in the fight, I mean, you gotta feel pretty good about your chances going into obviously Pocono, then Chicagoland for the next 2 races on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's just hard. I mean, I feel like we all race each other hard and close. We've all been racing around each other for quite a while. I'm not out here trying to take anybody out, so to be raced the way I was today is just very unfortunate. The Haptic Performance Racing guys, I mean, they're awesome. I mean, yeah, like I said, we race each other tight, close, but never out here trying to make contact and wreck guys. So, yeah, I got to thank them for everything they do each and every week. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Tyler, anyone else you'd like to shout out here for such a great run and strong performance here this evening?
No, I think I'm just going to keep it silent this week. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. Give it up for our race winner, Tyler Humphrey. Obviously, bit of a sour taste left in his mouth, so we'll have to try to look back, see if we can find that issue. Be interesting to see, what lap that may have been. That was prior to the contact between him and James Garland, or if that was after the fact. We'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, though, we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher, the number 3 machine, Chris Muse. Hey, Chris, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
I do.
Chris, man, good run. Solid day for you here this evening, brother. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind as you come home second place out there on the Speedway?
I'm just happy to get this race over with. I'm not a really good, I'm not a real good Michigan driver, even though it kind of looked like I was. I just feel like I'm not as fast as some people I've seen here. I've raced Michigan now. This is the third race in 2 weeks that I've raced Michigan, and because I was, in another league too that runs it too. So yeah, I was pretty slow in those leagues, but today, had good results. Made some changes.
Yeah, made some changes, obviously worked in the right direction and put you into a good position to battle here all night long and to help your teammate Tyler Humphrey out as well. Along the way, not only just leading laps early on in stage number 1 and then good finishes in these stages, but then here at the end of the race, be able to chase down some of these drivers, make some good pit stops, and put yourselves into position to come home with the 1-2 finish and then the 1-2-3 finish with Grant Humphrey also back there behind you guys in that third spot on the Speedway, man. Take us kind of, through that and how you guys are feeling for a team. Obviously, 2 races into the playoffs, all 3 of you guys moving forward into that round of 12. Are you feeling pretty good about your chances here to, get all 3 drivers into that championship 8 battle?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I was working, me and Tyler were definitely working together there in the first stage, and the gloves came off with like 15 to go. We started trying to battle each other.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw you making some moves. Looked like it dipped down low a couple times. Trying to get underneath of him, trying to side draft a little bit or take a run where you could be door to door with him out of corner number 2. Unfortunately, just never really worked out for you. Kind of set you back a little farther. You had to try to draw him back in and just never really got a good enough run to try to steal this win away from the 9 right here this evening. But still a really, really solid run. A great performance for yourself again here this evening. Parking that 3 right on the podium in position number 2. Chris, who would you like to thank for another great day here at the Speedway?
My girlfriend, Anthony, you for putting it on, my mom and dad, and Tyler, my teammates, and yeah.
Beauty. Well, Chris, great run, great performance here this evening, brother. We look forward to seeing you back out there from Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, again next Sunday afternoon, and see if you can park this 3 right back up here into the broadcast booth.
See you then.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher here this evening, Mr. Chris Muse. As we get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Grant Humphrey. Hey, Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Grant, man, good run, good battling for you here this afternoon, man. Take us back through it as you, Tyler, Chris. I mean, you guys were hooked up here this evening. Started 1, 2, 3. You finished 1, 2, 3, but it seemed like middle of this race, a little bit more work that you guys had to put into it, making some passes, battling hard around these guys, and late in this race, you're able to chase down, Edward Belair, Colton Manich, and put yourself here into that third position. Just not enough time to try to chase down your brother or Muse there for the top 2 spots here this evening. But take us back through what's going to go through your mind after 125 laps of battle.
Yeah, it was just a long race. I ready for this one to be over. So that's about all I have to say right now about it.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a longer one, a lot of laps, a lot of tight battling here at Michigan International Speedway, and obviously a lot of fun for everyone to have here today, man. How does it feel to be able to, come out here again, put together another great show, and have this, must-love Poodles kind of dominance out there on the Speedway?
Yeah, we love to see it, of course. So I'm really proud of my teammates. I added a little bit more extra fuel to the car in pits because I thought I wasn't gonna have enough, but that's why I came out so much further behind my teammates than what I did. But I think I could have been right there with them if not. So it was a long day. Glad that it's over and just ready to get on to the next one. Hopefully, we have a run at this championship. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. All 3 of you into the next round of these playoffs, and for yourself, obviously coming into this one, didn't really have to sweat too much about points going, fall below that cut line. I think you were good on points all evening long, so really no pressure. But now you head into round number 2. Points are going to get a lot tighter, and you head to Pocono here for our first race of the second round. How you feeling about going to Pocono and then back to a track a lot like this one with Chicagoland a couple weeks away?
I'm a little bit more excited for Pocono than I am Chicagoland, but I don't know. You just never know what's going to happen in these races. So went from the back to third, so that was interesting.
Definitely interesting. Definitely looked like it was a lot of fun battling your way up through the field and being able to still park it here on the podium, showing the speed and the drive and determination out of that 48 machine here today. Grant, who would you like to thank for a great run and a great drive out there on the Speedway?
I'd like to thank Isabel's Impact, Muscle Poodles, the Bar Distillery, Hell Niagara Enterprises, my coworkers, my family, my brother for always helping me try and get better, my amazing girlfriend Lindsay, and then you for broadcasting, of course, and then just both my other two teammates. Just always want appreciative of them.
Absolutely. Well, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening, Grant, as you park that number 48 here on the podium. Congrats on the great finish. Congrats on the great run. And we can't wait to see you back out there on the Speedway again next Sunday afternoon.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, the 48 ride of Grant Humphrey. Great run, great performance there for the 48 machine here this evening. Unfortunately, though, that's going to do it for us here in this one. We'll be back into the battle, though, as in about an hour from now, we'll be live again here. Another big show, another big race here on Peacemaker Gaming, as we'll be live again. Another NASCAR race as we got a full-length 160 laps of battling to go at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for what will be a very exciting, very, very fun night of racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming, with a lot of tight battling and a lot of great battles here on Peacemaker, not only throughout this race, but obviously throughout the next race for a full-length Indy 400 there at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a great show, and hopefully we see each and every one of you guys there to cheer on our drivers from the grandstands at Indy in just about an hour from now. But thank you all for watching here this evening. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the like button on the stream for us right now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today, and we'll see you guys all back in here again in just a little bit. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Radio check, check, 1, 2, radio check. Still. On the back to the corner, lane up through the trial zone. Not sure why we did that. I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody to get to the bottom. We should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down. Somebody's got it right in front of me.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs to line with his current sponsor. Sponsor will pick up stage in Mr. Garland, as Garland leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.
Check, check, 1, 2, radio check. Still on. On the bottom through the corner, lane up through the tile zone. Check, not sure why they did that, I don't know the plan. 88 was screaming everybody get to the bottom. Maybe we should just run all out and wait till after the fourth pit. Get out of the gas, slow down, man. Somebody's got it right in front of me. Come on, come on, come on.
Here comes that number 15 of Cameron Combs. Combs your line when it hits current sponsor. Sponsor will pick up stage win. Mr. Garland is Garland leading the way, showing these drivers how to get it done.